trying to get out in the streets park.
You have a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Straight. Mm-hmm. What up? What up?
Hi, everyone.
How is everybody doing today? I'm Ron.
I'm Angela.
This is Chatter of Opinion. So today we have a topic when it comes to, I guess, the differences between dating and age. What is our topic for today?
So it's being in a getting into a relationship while
Younger versus older.
What do you look for, basically, in a relationship? What are the pros and cons of each?
Yeah, because I can admit when I was young and going through some things or whatever as a youngster, I was all over the place. But then as an adult, an older adult, totally different ball game.
I'm going to bring up something later that you told me when we first started dating.
That I told you?
Yeah. That I know has changed from your perspective.
Did you run that by me first?
Nope.
Okay.
Sometimes that's what life is about, is to catch you off guard.
Mm-hmm.
No? All right.
I have no clue. So let's get into it.
Okay. So should we do pros of young versus older?
Let's just talk about dating in general when you're younger
hard.
versus
Period.
Versus
Dating is
older,
hard.
right? Dating, because you have a lot of times, or in a lot of instances today, where people don't really meet face to face. You meet online, so then you're communicating. It makes it difficult because the trust level is kind of different. Mm-hmm. With the filters and everything that's going on with social media, you don't know what person that you're dating, no matter if you're older or younger. When you're older, you might have a filter that makes you look 10 years younger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it could be a little difficult.
People don't even look the same.
Totally different person.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So then when it comes to being younger, in my case, I didn't really analyze dating when I was young.
You didn't. Yes, you didn't. Like, oh, well, what am I looking for? You don't do that.
You just get into a relationship, right? But when you get older, then you start, like I said, evaluating,
checking boxes.
Yeah, not only yourself, but the situation. You evaluate the person and the whole nine. It's a totally different ballgame.
You're more calculated, I feel, when you're older.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, like you go in with an agenda. Whatever the agenda may be, you're just more calculated in your approach,
right?
What your wants are and all of that.
So when we talk about younger, are we talking about younger as in teenage young versus young adult 20s? Or what are we talking about here?
So I'm thinking like end of high school, college, early 20s, maybe like up to like mid 30s.
30s as far as younger?
Is to me younger.
So we're talking about older.
Well, you say that one.
No, I want to see what you was going to say.
I know you do. That's why you told me that the other day. What do you mean by older?
Yeah.
So you choose what older is. Over 35.
Okay.
Saved me.
Over 35. I'm
over
frozen.
35. Are you?
Okay.
So that's the age range I'm thinking of. Okay. So can I start now?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So let's do pros when you're younger.
So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of dating while you're younger versus older. Okay. Yes. So let's go with younger. We're going to talk about what? The pros or the cons?
Let's do the pros. Or do we want to be negative first and positive second?
You always end on a positive note.
Okay. So we're going to do the cons of dating when younger. My first one is you don't know who you are yet.
So you're saying the cons, right?
Yes. Okay. The cons. You don't know who you are yet. So you could change still. You maybe haven't even dipped your toe in some traumatic experiences
Right.
or breakups or anything like that. So you just don't know who you are yet.
Yeah, when you're younger, you're trying to figure yourself out. And unfortunately, a lot of times when you're young and you get with someone, you're not really trying to figure them out. You're not trying to figure yourself out at the same time. And then you're kind of all over the place, like emotionally, you don't know who you are. So then you become what you think the other person wants you to be.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah. And you kind of like bend a lot because you just want to be liked.
That's it. That's it. Especially as a youngster. Okay.
All right. Next one is you could grow apart because if you're young and you each don't know yourselves yet and you don't know really your long-term wants and needs, eventually you maybe just start to grow
apart. I'd be curious to see how many, especially in today's age where relationships doesn't hold the same weight as they used to back in the days, how many people actually ended up with their like high school sweetheart or in their 20s if they met somebody lasted to their 30s, you know what I mean?
So I know one specifically, and that's my cousin Danny and Rosa. They've been together since they were, I think, in high school, maybe younger, but at least high school.
But they're our age together. Around that age group. I'm saying in today's age.
Oh, I see.
You know, because back then relationships, you know, when my parents were dating, it was different as well. You see what I'm saying?
That's true. And his parents have been together over 50 years.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So then,
so I think of like Megan and Antonio. They've been together since college.
That was just like 3 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
Stop lying.
I mean, they were like in it from like the get-go of college. And now
they have a family and in the whole nine. Okay, I can see that.
Family. So
right.
All right. My next one is world influences. Like when you're young, you're naive, you may not know any better. And so the con is like you don't know until now situations and people and the world start coming at you. That could create distance between you guys so that it doesn't last.
And I'm going to say that with, once again, today's generation, because we didn't have those influences when I was growing up.
Like what influences?
Like world influence. You said world influences.
Yeah.
We didn't have world influences coming into your relationship when I was growing up. Now it's put in your face and you're on social media, you're this, that, and the other. And those influences are there to sway you from one way or another. We were forced to deal with each other like face to face or whatever we had going on.
I think there was influences. I think just the influencers are different.
Like what type of influences would you
I don't know, like social media is definitely in the face of the younger ones now compared to us when we were younger.
I'm saying when you were younger.
Or even the news or like all the things, like our world in general is different.
If you look at it though, like right now, the news and social media is big. But when you were growing up, did you watch the news?
I think in college I started watching the news. That's always been. I know that's always been my morning thing because I like to know the weather. So then I would watch the news. So yeah, I've always kind of watched the news. That was always my thing.
I did not watch the news until later on in my military career, but then I was watching the news per military related items. I didn't really care that what was going on with politics or any of that other stuff. I was just looking at what I could potentially be involved in. You know what I mean? So outside of that, I didn't.
There was a war coming up.
Right. And as a teenager and a young adult, I didn't watch the news. You know what I mean? Back then, my father had his newspaper. He would read the newspaper, but we would never watch the news. No, and I wouldn't read the newspaper.
Yeah, I remember no. I don't remember who would always come on the weekends with the Saturday or Sunday newspaper, and we would all just go through it
and get the cartoons.
And you mentioned about when I said in college I started watching the news
because you just seem like that type of person that everybody's partying and you over there keeping up with the news, like what's going on with the ecosystem or something, something like that. You know what I mean?
I was not.
You just seem like
all
that
right.
type.
Next one is you're not established. It's hard to be in a relationship, especially if you're thinking long term, when you can't even afford bread. Like,
Right.
Right? You're in a relationship, and what are you looking long term? Do you buy a house? How can you buy a house? Because you're barely starting out.
I would agree. And we did a podcast about this as far as the establishment of the individuals. At what point, at what age should a person be established? You know what I mean? So
I know just from me watching through Facebook, Jeanette, if you're watching, I'm going to shout you out. I know that her son, Tristan, he's fairly young. I think he's like a year older or younger than Zaylin.
Okay.
And he like worked to get a house, and he got married. So he is young, but he seems like he's level-headed and responsible enough to start that road.
So I'll ask you this question. And it's on the same lines as maturity level, because back in the days, they used to say women are X amount of years more mature than guys. Mm-hmm. Is that the same as far as establishment? Do you think women nowadays establish themselves faster than men?
Yes.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
I just think in general, girls are just more responsible and they get it faster. I do. Monica says she has always been a sophisticated lady.
Oh, okay, Monica, I see you.
So, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, okay. All right, Monica. Shout out to Monica. But yeah, the establishment is big. As a kid, and I'm just talking for myself, when I was in my 20s, even though I was in the military, I still wasn't established. I was just trying to go from spot to spot, doing what I needed to do, and not just to survive, to have fun. It had nothing to do with establishment.
Yeah.
The only thing I was established in is I had a steady job. My job was I was active duty. I was not going to get off of active duty Air Force.
Yeah.
I had a stable job, so I didn't have to worry about where my next paycheck was coming. It was already coming on the 1st and 15th. I just had to worry about where I was going to spend it.
In between.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Next one is you have more struggles when you're younger.
Okay. Explain that. What kind of struggles are we talking about?
A lot. Financial, maturity, maybe family issues, because maybe you're still under the roof of your parents. So you don't have a lot of flexibility of having a honey over, or you know what I mean? Like, or maybe you don't even have a car yet. So then you're having to use your parents' car to go out. Like, how do you start a relationship when you can't even
go pick a person up or take them out on a legitimate date or anything like that? Yeah.
So I just feel like it's more of a struggle to like start and be in a relationship.
It is a struggle. And the thing about that is, a lot of times you have to be understanding. I don't know how understanding people are in today's age.
Well, if you're young too, you might be sharing the same struggle.
And you might. And sometimes what helps you out as a youngster in these days is when it comes to meeting up, you have the same friends, you hang around with the same group. So you find a way to make it work. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the struggles are real. The same struggles as today. We had the same, those struggles back in the day too. Because I drove my father's Monte Carlo until the wheels fell off that piece. But I had to wait for him to come home from work and make sure he didn't have nothing to do.
On their schedule.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think too, like when you struggle, how do I say this? I don't think that when you're young, any struggle is like the end of the world.
Today.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Yes. Like before, I feel like we handled struggle differently.
Yes.
We were like fighters, like this ain't going to get me down. Whereas now, if something like a kid's car breaks down, they just feel like their whole world is going to collapse because they don't know how to like.
Car breaks down, let the Wi-Fi go out.
Well, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's a struggle to kids now. If the Wi-Fi went out, they're struggling. Yeah. But I agree
they're
with
very
you.
sensitive. If something goes wrong or not their way, they don't know how to handle disappointment, I guess.
When we struggled back in the days, you tried to find a way to overcome.
Correct.
You tried to find a way to get ahead of it.
This ain't gonna get me down.
Right.
I'll figure it
now,
out.
if it doesn't go people's way, shoot.
Yes, it's like the end
the
of the
world
road.
is the world is finished.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
And then the last one we have for cons when being younger is communication. When you're young, you don't even know how to communicate, much less to communicate.
You don't even want to communicate when you're young. Communication is the last part. What I tell you is what I tell you. With a lot of slang.
And I don't even communicate well.
Right. A lot of slang terms going on. People just assume that you know what you're talking about. Have you ever talked to some of these kids or got a text from some of these kids and you're just like, what the heck are you talking about?
I still struggle with that. If you know me, my communication is ask this guy.
Oh, communication with her is
awful.
Well, the issue with your communication
I've gotten better though, but it's awful.
You communicate
halfway.
Well, I won't even say halfway. You communicate for you to understand.
Yeah.
You don't communicate to the point where you think the other person will understand. You just say, this is how I think.
Or I start my conversations mid-thought. As if I've been having a conversation in my head, and then I bring you in like halfway through.
And then I have to say, what are you talking about?
Yes, I know, it's awful. Anyways, we're not here to talk about me.
Okay, yeah, we're not. What was the next one? That was the cons of dating when you're younger or getting into a relationship when you're younger. So what are the pros then?
No, let's do the cons of older.
Okay, let's go.
Because we're going to end positive.
So one of the cons as far as being in a relationship or dating when you're older is you're set in your ways.
Yes.
Period. Yes. Put a period on there.
You've lived all this life doing you, and someone's not going to just come in and expect you to change.
Yes.
Right.
You can't. Once you get older and you already had that establishment as who you are, you know who you are, you know where you're going. There's no convincing me to a person to do otherwise. Yeah, because you know what it took for you to get to that point, and you just full speed ahead forward.
I have to talk about my mom, because my mom, when she was trying to date when older, was like that. She was just so set in her ways that she was not very flexible with the men that were interested in her. Even one time she was like, he just kept asking me what I was thinking. If I wanted to tell him, I would tell him.
I remember your mama, the church guy. Y'all kept on drilling that woman about the church guy. She was not having it, boy. She got upset.
She did not want to have a conversation about it.
No.
Yeah. So definitely set in your ways when you're older. So you have to either find someone who fits into that puzzle piece.
Right.
Or be by yourself.
You kind of
find a part-time.
Yeah, you got to kind of find somebody that's on your same level of thought. You know what I mean? As far as where you want to go for the rest of your life, because it'll be difficult when you get into a situation with somebody that thinks like totally different from you, and you're just now getting into a relationship with them at an older age. Not gonna work. Yeah, it's not gonna work.
What's the next one?
Tainted. What do you mean by tainted?
Tainted. You've been through the ringer all your life. That now I'm so negative about relationships that I go into even dating tainted, negative, where I'm waiting for the whole castle to crumble.
And people nowadays, when they go through some things, boy. You hear some stories. I'm just like, yeah. So then you bring that into another relationship and you try to start. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of judgment. Yeah. When you come through,
especially if you're
older.
If you're older and you're not established and you're dating, and then you date someone who is established, they're probably like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you so far behind in life? And you're in your 50s or whatever."
So then you don't give that person actually a fair chance, a fair shake of trying to prove themselves, because you know what you've been through, and then this person comes along and it's not good.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of situations where you got some pretty good people out there, but they don't get a chance because of either what they haven't accomplished when they were younger to reach that old stage, or they've been through some things with a person and then they just don't give that other person a chance. They block their blessings. As we black folks would say, you don't block your blessing. No?
Okay, yes.
Okay, yeah.
What's the next
So
one?
we have setting your ways and we have obtaining, then giving up on relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're kind of just, if it happens, it happens, but I'm not looking. And
right. And one of the things that is difficult is when you have to try to convince somebody. When you're older, you're trying to convince them that I'm not like the past, or just give me a chance. Just because this happened, I'm not that person. You see what I'm saying?
No, you're not, Monica. She says, I'm going to be single forever.
No, Monica, you a catch. And what did she say earlier? She was a sassy woman. What did she say?
No, she said me, that I've always been, because you were talking about, you pictured me when I was younger with the whole news thing.
Oh.
So she was saying has always been a sophisticated lady.
Oh, you've been sophisticated. Oh, I thought Monica said she was sophisticated.
No.
Oh, that makes sense.
But Monica is still a catch.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I thought she said she's going to be single forever.
Never mind. I was going to say, maybe we can play the love game.
What love game?
Love match.
My live is not. If you are commenting, I apologize, but something's going on with the lives today.
So if you guys want to find mine under Angela Rodriguez,
yes,
you can get on that one because I am getting comments.
Are you? Because I saw one pop up, but then it just disappeared.
Deletes. Yeah. Are you on the right thingy where it's not?
I'm good right there. See?
Yeah, but there's see how I have live chat, top comments? Maybe you're on the wrong one.
There's no wrong one. Let's keep going.
Well, you suck.
Ooh.
Anyways, so yeah, giving up okay, so next one is cons alone time. They value your alone time. So how are you going to be in a relationship if you like being alone?
Sometimes that's not a con, though.
See? Ron is such a loner. He is a loner. He has really let me into his little bubble, but he's definitely a loner.
Caleb says it's not good to marry or date someone way too older than you. Your level of thought, drives, and goals in life are different. I would agree.
I would agree too.
I would agree.
Monica says, thank you guys. Dating game. Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
We should have a dating game.
With Caleb, I saw a post with you earlier, Caleb, with you and your lovely bride. You're pushing, I think you posted 11 years, right?
Yeah, that was Lena from the other day.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
11 years. So if we don't recognize it, I think it's in next month in April, man. Congratulations to 11 years.
Our anniversary is in April too.
April 20th.
Yep, 20.
Yes, so that's a good deal right there. But we said
I was talking about alone time. That they like to be alone.
Yeah, sometimes. Right? Because if you look at my parents and things of that nature, even though they're both retired, they still have their alone time. One is in their room, or one is watching TV.
Yes.
They have their together time.
Come together when it's time.
Right.
Yeah.
That is.
I agree.
Yeah, that could be a pro or a con.
Yeah. But sometimes if they're so I just don't want to, I don't see anyone else in my life. I don't mind going out with you once in a while, but I'm not going to include you in my life decisions or my day-to-day. Right. All right. So let's start with pros about being in a relationship when you're younger. You have more comments first?
I was trying to like that one.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Pros when you're younger getting into a relationship.
Pros when you're younger, getting into a relationship. Okay.
So pros to me, I said the inexperience. Sometimes when you are so influenced by the world, that kind of deters you from making certain decisions. But if you're so young, like there's people who've been together since they were 16 or whatever, then you're not like influenced yet by all the other outside noise.
And if you're in a relationship and you're inexperienced on both you and your person, then you could get experience together. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that inexperience of what you need to learn could be learned together.
Which leads to the next one. You grow up together. You grow together.
Right. Even though guys are so many years behind the girls.
Yeah.
But
you still grow, even if it's like, how can I do it? Here's the girl and here's the boy. She grows like this and he grows like this.
No, but okay.
I thought that was good.
All right.
Thanks, Moni. Monica said, dig in the bangs, and okay. Love you guys. Okay, don't laugh at me. Next one, you don't know any better. Like I said, the influences of like the outside world, you don't know any better. So you guys kind of are in your little bubble and you make each other happy and you don't let the outside noise interfere with what you got going on.
That is correct.
And then this one I'll let you do so you can explain it better.
Yeah, as a youngster, I say you learn the wants versus your needs. And I will explain that. When you're young, you want everything. You know what I mean? No matter if you need it or not. Yeah, you can afford it. You want to go on a trip, this, that, and the other. You want to do certain things. But when you're young, you kind of figure out, to reach the next level, you got to sacrifice your wants from your needs. Like our relationship when we're younger, let's say we live together, whatever, we might want this brand new home. But right now we just need to be in a spot, you know what I mean? Yeah. And we can save up for this brand new home. You see what I'm saying? Because we can't afford it. Or we might want to go on a trip with our friends to Vegas. But what we need to do is work some overtime to, build our money, get our money straight in the whole nine. You see what I'm saying?
If you're responsible and level-headed younger adults, because there's some who they're building a relationship, but they're still out there partying and they're maybe sleeping on couches.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with being a young adult or being a kid or whatnot. But then eventually you're going to start thinking,
family.
Do I want to sleep on this person's couch anymore? No, I need to get myself
especially
straight.
If you're the girl, like at some point it's like, bro, like what are we doing?
You know what? I've never seen a girl
young
couch surf.
Never?
I've never seen it. When you talk about couch surfing and whatnot, I've always seen it to be guys. Me personally, I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
I don't think I know anyone either.
Right, that was just a female that was just, couch surfing from spot to spot.
Together.
I wouldn't say that. Y'all go back home to y'all's mamas.
Anyways.
No.
All right. So we're moving to when you're in a relationship, getting into a relationship when you're older. What are the pros?
Some of the pros are, your wants and dislikes.
Yep. You've gone through all your life and experiences that now I know exactly what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm willing to deal with and not deal with. And I know what I don't like. So that's what you look for. And you probably don't deter from that.
Okay. I can see that. As far as when you come into a relationship, when you're older or you're in a relationship, it's the same as being stuck in your ways. I know what I want. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because right now, my focus is on like some serious stuff like retirement or stability or this, that, and the other. And I know what I don't like. Don't try to convince me that I should be doing something totally different because in my mind as an older individual, I already know where I'm going. Yeah. So if you're trying to convince me, it's not that I like it, it's that you like it and you want me to like what you like.
What you like.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'm going to jump in and say what I was going to say earlier about when you and I were still kind of new to our relationship. I don't know how new, but you had mentioned how before you would look for a girl that was not crazy,
aggressive.
Mm-hmm. He liked the aggressive ones. I am not that.
At all.
At all. I'm very like type A. Not aggressive, but you know what? Type A worked for you, babe. Yeah. Aggressive, no bueno when you're older. You don't need cray-cray in your life.
Yeah, but
you need calm, zen, stability.
You know what? When people say that you have a type, you know what I mean, and what actually kept you going. In my younger days, the aggressive person kept me going because I was a quiet person. I didn't really, if you made a decision or whatever, it just helped me out. If you were very vocal on things, it helped me out because I didn't want to make a decision on anything. Yeah. So the aggressive person always kind of took charge. I wasn't no little bi, but the person just took charge, and I didn't have to make any decisions because I did that at work like all the time.
That's how I am, I think, in our relationship. Because at work, I'm very like strong and make a lot of decisions and like head of a lot of stuff. So then when I come home, I don't want to do any of that. I want Ron to like take the reins and be like the man and just make decisions for me. And yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
Do you have a comment?
Yeah. Caleb says, inexperienced dating experience can cause issues, right? Mm-hmm. For example, my wife was my first, and it was a little bumpy at the beginning, but I had to learn to adjust to live with someone else. And I was just 27 years old then. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it can be bumpy when you're inexperienced. Definitely. And then all of a sudden you're taking on a different situation and whatnot. Now you go from you just dealing with you, and you got another person in your house. It could be difficult to try to adjust because you're used to doing certain things by yourself.
I saw this, I'm assuming it was a TikTok where, am I a hole because of this? Have you seen those? They always like do scenarios like, am I a hole because I did this, right? And so the one that I saw was this young girl, her and her boyfriend were talking about moving in together, but she told him because he lived with his mom still and she had her own place, he wanted to move in with her. She says his mom cooks, cleans, does his laundry, that she said, I do not want to live with you until you live on your own, because I don't want you to move in here and expect me to pick up after you, clean, do the cooking, blah, blah, blah.
But just because somebody did it for him doesn't mean that was going to happen, though.
Well, he argued it and was like, well, why can't you do it?
Oh.
Yeah. So, because that's what he was used to.
Yeah, with his mom.
So I think they were even questioning about breaking up because she's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be your mother when we live together. I need you to step up and pull your weight.
And I'm 100% for that. Like I said, you don't start something that you're not going to continue, but don't become somebody that you're not. Right. If she's not I'm going to cook and clean and I'm going to do your laundry and this, that, and the other, let that be known. If that's what he wants and that's not compatible, either he has two choices. Either he's going to do it himself, or he's going to find somebody else. Right. He's going to let that person go because that person's or go back to his mom and let his mom wash his undies. Pretty much.
His
yeah.
All right. Next one. Oh God.
Okay, go ahead.
Next one. When you're older and are looking for a relationship, is you're more established.
Okay. I would agree.
Right? You're just more stable.
Yeah. When it comes to finances, a lot of times you're more stable or comfortable with how your finances are because you have lived a certain lifestyle for a long period of time. So you know where you can and what you can't do. Yeah. You know, if you have to rob Peter to pay Paul, you know where you're going and where you want to go.
Yes.
So you are more stable. With your work or your job, same thing. You're pretty much where you want to be, or you're trying to get to where you want to be.
Or you're that close.
Right, because you're looking at the long term, which is like retirement and things of that nature, versus.
I agree. I think when you're younger too, it's all about the right now, the immediate. But when you're older, you tend to look in the future.
Yeah. Because right now I'm like in the parking lot of retirement. Car's still running. I done pulled in and I'm just chilling right now. You see what I'm saying? But when I was younger, I didn't think about retirement. I just thought about what shoes I was going to buy and how I was going to buy these next, this, that, and the other. Or what party I'm going to on Friday night.
I'm getting at Taco Bell, and you spend your money more frivolously, or more loose. You spend your money, and when you're older, you just think your things through. Like, okay, I would rather eat at home most of the time and splurge once in a while. Why? Because I have goals. I want to travel, or I want to buy a house, or I want to do this. That's more important to me than eating at Taco Bell every week or every day.
You have to look at when you get older, you look at what is it that I missed out on, that I sacrificed to get to this point. Whether it's traveling, whether it's spending time with your family. Whether it's your grandkids, or whether it's retirement, or what is it that you missed out on? And then you start focusing on that, because now your focus is you want to be comfortable when you retire from your job. So partying and stuff like that, older individuals do party, together, but
just party differently.
It's a different party.
It's
and it's
a
not
Friday home by 8.
It's not staying out, closing down the club. This, that, and the other. Kayla once again says, stability is mostly the main catch most younger folks are looking for in an older person in dating. I think so. When younger individuals date an older individual, the stability part of it is what is more
enticing.
Enticing. When that person has their stuff together, because you hear that all the time. Oh, you got your stuff together, because they have a pretty decent job. They got their home. They got this, that, and the other.
Because especially if I'm on that trail,
you're looking for
I want someone who's equally yoked.
I would agree with that. I don't know what that means, but I would agree with that.
All right. Next one is when you're older, you know yourself.
Okay.
Right? You just know who you are.
Yes.
And so you go into a relationship, you're more confident. You know, again, your likes, dislikes, what you're going to put up with, what you're not. Whereas when you're young, you don't know yourself yet. You could still change or go through experiences to where it makes you a different person. But when you're older, you are already who you are. And you know who you are and what you can deal with or not deal with.
Yeah, you know yourself. Once you figure that out when you're older, like I said, it goes down to some of the cons. You're kind of stuck in your ways. You know where you want to go, and you don't allow nothing to come into your personal space or your mental to change that. Nobody's going to come into, when you're older, into your life and change who you are, because quickly you're going to understand and you realize that I am not that person that you're trying to make me out to be. This is who I am. Either you like it or you leave it. Yes.
I agree.
When you're older.
Next one is stability, which we talked about. You're more established, you're stable.
Right.
It's just a more comfortable setting when you're looking for a relationship.
Yes. When it comes to stability. And as an older person, and I'm going to say, once you get into your 30s and you really enjoy your travel, your journey, you will start questioning yourself as far as, are you where you need to be at that particular age? And I think it's around mid 30s, like 34, 35.
I think so.
You start thinking like, man,
like,
am
I on the path where I expect myself to be? And if not, now's the time to
get it right. With kids too. If you haven't had kids and you want kids, normally around your mid 30s, you're like, man, I need to get it. I need to get it done, like right now.
All right. Last one is communication.
Key.
Pros, you've learned, except for Angela, you've learned to communicate.
Yes. to the point where your partner, your significant other, understands exactly what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. Mm-hmm. Communication is the key. When you get older, you're detail oriented. Like, well, we're going to do this at this direct. Time, this. Yeah.
Hey, I don't like when you did that. I felt disrespected, blah, blah, blah. But when you're young, you don't say anything, or you don't speak up for yourself, or you don't know how to say this or that. Or you say something that's really not what you meant.
So then when you're young, you let all that stuff build up, and then you throw 30 things out at one time. And then you forget what the real argument is actually about. Mm-hmm. When you're older, you just blunt like, hey, this is what I understood from this conversation, or this is what you did that I don't really agree with, and so forth. And then you press on, and you learn from your significant other when you're older.
I think when you're older, you want to learn too. You guys have normally a common goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the question is, okay, we have this common goal. How did we get off of the beaten path? Like, why did you do this when this is where we're going? Or why did you say this when I understood
that we were here?
Yeah. So the communication is key. And like you said, very direct when you get older in the relationship.
You don't beat around the bush.
Right.
Like
the bad part about that is when you get older and somebody comes at you straight, sometimes you get a little extra butt hurt. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You dealt with this for X amount of years.
There's a difference between being direct and being rude. It's the delivery. Ron's not great at delivery sometimes.
But sometimes it's not about.
Just like I'm not good at communicating. He's not great at delivery.
I don't know about the rude part. I think you're a little sensitive at times, and then you just take it the wrong way. If I just tell you straight up, like, this is how it.
That's what really rude people say.
I guess.
Anyways, guys, that's our conversation for today is relationships when you're older versus younger. What are the pros and cons? There's some people who've been together forever, and there's others who are just now finding their possible forever person, and you're different. Like I said in our little commercial, is you're different from when you're younger to when you're older, and your wants and needs are different as well.
Very much so.
So you just look for different things in the relationship.
Yeah, and the thing is, just be patient. You know what I mean? You don't have to rush into things. And one of the things I'll say is get to know the person that you're with. No matter if you're younger or older, the problem with today's society when it comes to dating is people don't take the time to get to really know the person that they get involved with.
True.
So later on down the line, 3-4 months later, you're like, you just
surface level.
You're thrown off. You're like, what? I didn't know this, and so forth. Just get to know that person. And if that person ain't for you, then just move on. You know what I mean?
One thing I am big on, though, is don't waste your time. If you're trying to make a person into what you want or expect them to be, you can't change people. Don't waste your time on a possibility. If it ain't going to work, it ain't going to work.
Yeah. And don't stay in relationships also when you know that your relationship is not going to actually last. What you have to do is just be
truthful with yourself.
Just communicate. Like one of the older pros was, just communicate with the significant other or whoever that you're involved with, and just discuss. Communication is the key. Discuss. Every relationship that goes its separate way is not necessarily a bad, negative, hateful relationship.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That is our topic for today: relationships while younger versus older. We really appreciate you guys for joining us on this Thursday
and every Thursday.
Yeah, everyone that has chimed in and whatnot. We really appreciate you guys' support. Easter Sunday is coming up. I don't know what you guys got going on for Happy Easter Sunday. Yes, but just make sure that you guys are safe in doing whatever it is that you guys are partaking in. I always love to see the videos and posts of, the younger families kids enjoying the Easter egg hunts.
I know we don't have any young ones in our family. The youngest one is 15.
Yeah.
So we don't have Easter egg hunting, but we do have deviled eggs.
It's a must.
Yeah. So anyways, happy Easter to you guys.
Yes.
Until next Thursday. See y'all then.
Thank you.
Peace.
Just have us staring at the. We did our internet thing is not